excited today to show you how to make a scrambled tofu, and this will replace your traditional scrambled eggs. And I bet that you'll be shockingly surprised when you see how much it tastes like regular scrambled eggs and how much it looks like it too. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using 1 pound of extra firm tofu that you can buy in the grocery store. We're going to use about a cup of our mushrooms, about 3/4 of a cup of our diced tomatoes. We have about half of a cup of our green onions, 3/4 cup of our red bell pepper, and 1 teaspoon of our onion powder and 1 teaspoon of our garlic powder. We're going to use turmeric, and that's actually going to give it a special color, and about 1/4 teaspoon of that. Then of course we're going to use our Bill's Best chickenish seasoning, but you can use your own. We can get this at the health food store. And then 1½ tablespoons of our water, and 1½ tablespoons of our Bragg's liquid aminos. And this is an alternative to soy sauce. It doesn't have any MSG, and I really love to work with it. You can get this also at the health food store, and a lot of grocery stores now are just carrying it. If you didn't want to use the Bragg's liquid aminos, you could use a coconut amino. And if you can't find that, then a regular soy sauce would be good. But I like it because it doesn't have MSG. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all this into a skillet, but first we're going to crumble up our tofu. And I've already cut it open, and I like to drain out all the water. And then I just put it in my bowl, and I'm going to put my fork, and I'm just going to crumble it up. Another thing you can do is you can just use a potato masher, or if you don't even want to bother, then you can just like cut it up into little bite-sized chunks. But I like to give it that scrambled egg look appearance. So much of the food that we eat, we relate to because of the way it looks. And so if you can make something look like a scrambled egg and taste like a scrambled egg and not have any animal products in it, it's going to be really healthy, and you're probably more apt to try it. Okay, so once I got that all kind of crumbled up, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to add my water to my skillet. I have my skillet at about 300 degrees. And what we're going to do is we want to pull the water out of these mushrooms and cook those down. I'm going to add my green onion. And I'm going to go ahead and add my red bell pepper because I want these things to kind of have a nice soft consistency. We're making what would be like a scrambled omelet, if you will. And I like red bell pepper in that. I'm going to hold off on my tomatoes because I want to add that at the very end. I'll go ahead and add my soy sauce or my soy alternative, which is our Bragg's. Then I'll go ahead and add my seasonings. Nice and flavored. And I'll just add my pinch of my turmeric. This is really neat because turmeric is so anti-inflammatory, and it's going to give us that desired look. So I always like to work with my turmeric. As much as I can, kind of sneak it in there. It's not going to impart any flavor, but it is going to give you a lot of benefits. Okay, so I want to stir all this up. Just get everything nice and coated until we add our tofu. Now when you add your tofu, it's going to be watery, and we don't want to have a real watery egg. So we're going to cook this until all the water is pretty much dissolved. And I want to tell you, just, use a lot of love and time in this recipe because it can be sometimes time consuming for all that water to cook out, but I don't want to discourage you because the finished product is definitely worth the wait. And one other thing I wanted to talk about was the red bell pepper that I added. Some people have trouble with green bell peppers. They think they can't eat it because they get digestive distress. Well, try using a red bell pepper or an orange one or even a yellow one because the green bell pepper isn't ripe. And so if you have some digestive distress or you've tried the bell peppers in the past, then I encourage you to try a different color because bell peppers really have really good properties to them. They're full of vitamin C, they have great fiber, and we're looking for adding more vegetables to our diet. And it's actually a fruit, botanically speaking, because it has seeds. But we call it a vegetable. It's one of those foods that can be either a vegetable or a fruit, depending on what you use with it. It's kind of a neutral fruit, if you will, or a sour fruit, ones that you don't have to worry about adding a lot of sugar to your diet. Okay, so we're going to let this cook down. And when this is done, you're gonna see a beautiful scrambled egg. Okay, so our tofu scramble is done, and I wanna show you how beautiful it is. We're gonna plate this, and it looks just like scrambled eggs, right? Without half of the problems, in fact, without any of the problems that eggs have. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sprinkle just a few of these beautiful tomatoes on there to give it a nice touch. And now you have a breakfast alternative to your eggs.